right, here we go. We have Bobby Luisi, former made man of the Philadelphia crime family. Welcome to VladTV.
Thank you for having me on, Vlad.
Well, you have a very interesting story, and I want to start in the beginning.
Okay.
So you actually grew up in Boston.
I grew up in Boston, in the North End in Little Italy.
Okay, and what was that like?
Well, it was something. I mean, that was headquarters for organized crime at that time. And I grew up with all made guys, bosses, capos, you know. My father was involved with them since he was a teenager, you know, so I grew up around all these people. The Patriarca family.
Okay, so the Patriarca family, and it's got a few different names. It's also called the New England Mafia, the Boston Mafia, the Providence Mafia, and also the Office.
Yeah, yeah. But now we say Patriarca crime family.
Okay, why was it called the Office?
I don't know, that might have been Jerry and Julo's place on Prince Street. Jerry and Julo was the boss of Boston. Raymond Patriarca's underboss. And he ran all the Boston faction of the Patriarca family.
Okay, and the Patriarca family really has a very interesting history because they're not officially connected to the New York crime families, right?
Well, they're all connected. Raymond Patriarca was connected with the New York families. And in Springfield, Massachusetts was the Genovese family.
Aha.
They had a crew
Okay.
down there. Yeah.
Okay, because there was a national commission that sort of overlooked all this?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. And Raymond Patriarca Sr. was part of that.
Aha. Okay. So in 1983, Patriarca was actually charged with the murder of Raymond Curcio?
That may be the name. I don't recall. Yeah.
Okay. And also he was arrested for the murder of Robert Candos, who I guess he thought was an informant.
Okay.
This happened in 83, and then in 84, he died of a heart attack
He did, yes.
at 76 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, there became sort of a power struggle.
Yeah, there was a problem. After that, when he passed away, you know, Jerry and Julo, who was the boss up there, Larry Bione, a few of these guys were looking for that seat. Jerry and Julo was his underboss, and Raymond left it to his son, to Raymond Jr., which he was nothing like the father, you know, not well respected in that manner. And it caused a problem down there. There was a rift. So in the mid-'80s to '90, there were some murders down there, power struggles. And then it continued into the '90s.
Okay, so you yourself, I guess you were around 11 years old when you started getting involved?
When I was 11 years old, I worked for the Angelos. It was room vending, and it's a good story. I used to go after school and on Saturdays, and I used to roll the dime machines for them. Ronnie Romanowski, it was room vending. That he was the front guy for them, you know, partner with them. And I started working for them when I was 11, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so 11 years old, what year is this? Just so I could kind of...
Well, I was born in 61. 72?
Okay, so
yeah.
This was 72, so this was pretty early.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay, and your father is involved in the Patriarcas.
Yes, he is.
And what was his role exactly with them?
Well, my father was a bad guy. He was a tough guy. You know, he was always into the strip joints, after-hour clubs. You know, he was muscle and whatever else he had to be for them, you know. And my father was a good guy, very loyal to them. Grew up with all the, you know, made guys in his era. And, you know, he was with them, like I said, probably his early 20s, teens to early 20s.
Okay, so your dad is really kind of really deeply ingrained. He was a made man for the Patriarcas?
No, he was proposed twice, but he was never made.
Aha. Okay. Now, what was your dad doing exactly? Was he muscle? Was he a hitman? Was he a drug guy? Or do you not really know?
I'll say an all-around guy.
All-around guy.
He was an all-around guy. He did everything.
Okay. So 11 years old, you start getting mixed up in it. And what starts to happen as you get into your teens?
In my teens, I started hanging around with these guys. There was a few names that, you know, Larry Bione was a capo. He was very powerful in the family. And his crew was Johnny Cincotti, Rafi Chong. And we used to go down to Bell Monopoly Pizza on Hanover Street. That was their headquarters. You know, we started hanging around them with them, you know. So we'd be young kids with, you know, $150 shoes on, dressed up every day. You know, not with suits on, but, you know, nice, you know. And we started hanging around with them. But also at that time, my family also was in the construction business. And I wanted to be a carpenter at that time. I really didn't want to be a gangster, you know. So I started going more to that with my uncles. And I think it was 20 years old. I got my first builder's license. And I had my own construction company at 21, you know, and I was following that up until 30 years old. I was staying away from all of that, you know. But I was still around them all the time. My father was still with them. So, you know, they were everyday faces in the neighborhood, these wise guys. You couldn't miss them.